Hello, everyone, and thanks to IEEE Cloud Summit for having me here. I'm Sandeep Shivam, Associate Director Product Management at Tavant. I lead AI and product for fintech platforms, and I am also a senior member at IEEE. Here, the question I want us to sit with for the next few minutes is most teams now have AI features. Very few have AI native workflows. The difference is whether AI sits beside the work or inside the work. I'm going to make this concentrate with cloud native case study from mortgage origination, a production system, real production system with real numbers and few honest lessons that I have learned with the lenses of the product that I own, develop, breathe, and live for. Without any further delay, let's get into the presentation with my topic as from AI feature to AI native workflow, designing for impact. As I said, it will be driven by the case study of fintech product. So here we are talking about cloud initiative, AI initiative. I know my presentation is focused on AI, but why AI? The reason why we all are talking about AI, because when it comes to computer innovation, software related innovation, hardware related innovation, AI is considered to be next big thing. Why it is considered to be next big thing? Because it has potential to be a successful technology, or rather it has already become a successful technology. Computers came first, which made manual record keeping through system, made it efficient, simpler for human. Then came internet, which allowed us to do shopping at comfort of our home. If internet allowed us to do things at home, smartphone made it on the move, on the go. We can watch streaming services. Then came cloud, which allowed smaller businesses also to innovate with respect to technology and come on par with big giants. And then now we are in the age where we are talking about AI. Because out of all its four procedures, this has huge potential. It has ability to solve real problem, remove friction, and reduce effort, make people more productive, more efficient. And fundamentally, this is one of the technology, like other four, it's going to change the way mankind has lived on this planet. And that's why we are talking about AI. Now, what we have learned so far is most AI effort basically gets stopped due to three reasons. One, when you have bolt-on chatbots, it's always on, great. But then one of the study from Stanford found out that 80 plus percent of chatbot implementation did go south even though it was available 24/7, because it was not integrated into the workflow, because it was not providing insights to the user. The next reason why it fails is because we are implementing AI for sake of it. Like experimenting with internal organization, making it available for staffs for the organization, trying to make them efficient. Whereas the real benefit comes if we implement AI directly for the customer features. And then one size fits all, that's an invalid assumption when it comes to AI or Big Bang approach. We need to narrow down the scope and slowly implement it. When I talk about my product down further in this presentation, I'll talk about how we first implemented Gen AI and then we moved to agentic AI as we started gaining the confidence. We are talking about AI. We are talking about great technologies like cloud, but then you you need to focus on niche, create value for your customers. To give an example, Icon is a very small company, just 5 people, but they started generating 5 million revenue in 30 days. Why? Because they focused on specific user needs, which was video editor. They build AI based product on horizontal LLMs, and it was specifically for video editors. There are other examples also where AI-based product work really great. Many of the law firms started with AI-based product without any research, and they have been successful. And that's the reason nowadays we say AI is creating more millionaires than ever before. But that's one aspect, to focus on the niche area where you want to have the real benefit of AI. But at the same time, user experience still remains the key. Cursor is a great example, which developers use it. It has got traction in development community because it has great intuitive UI. So user experience is still the key, even though AI is there, we have cloud technology, but the focus has to be on user experience to make things easier for user, to make it intuitive for user. And of course, trust is the key, but then it is ultimately part of the user experience. Now, let's now embed AI into the real workflow. This is a mortgage origination product that I own with my employer, Tavant, and the product is called Touchless. Um, I want to stress the cloud native part on the right. It's AWS native, it scales elastically, it is event driven, and lending rules are expressed as policy as a code, which is very important because when you are in lending business, you have investors and they have their own policy. Then you have lenders overlay on top of it. If you're on servicing side, then you have services overlay on top of it. So having a system built with so many rules, it gets complicated. And that's where AI definitely helps, as it is able to support policy as a code. You just provide those 2000, 3000 page policy document to AI and let system function based on it. So that architecture is what lets AI live inside the process rather than beside it. Mortgage is a great test for it because it's high stakes, heavily regulated, document heavy, and full of friction, exactly where an AI native workflow can earn its keep. Now, since now I'm getting into the product, I'll take an example. In United States, what happens is there are independent mortgage bankers who basically provide mortgage lending. And in most cases, they end up selling it to investor. The two main investor today is Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, government-sponsored entities, GSEs basically. They are the one who buy these mortgages. So when independent banker or financial institution um, or independent mortgage lender, when they get a mortgage application, they have to take it through Fannie or Freddie and do their automated underwriting system like DU and LPA, and then run through it, ensure Fannie and Freddie is approving the application, and also if there are any condition, you look to resolve that. So the process is lender staff will run against automated underwriting system from GSEs, and then results will come. They need to translate, or system will translate, and then it will go to the borrower. Borrower will look at it, understand something else, and provide the document. Now loan officer again is chasing the borrower saying, hey, this actually required something else. What you have provided is something different. So it creates back and forth. There is manual review that loan officer will have to do every time the borrower uploads the document. So that is one of the reason why cycle time in mortgage industry, the kind of back and forth you have, is still very high in spite of having so much of technological innovation. I was talking to one of the lender and he was telling me in 1990s the cycle time was whatever it was, 40, 45, 50 days. Even with so much of digitalization and technological advancement, it still revolves around that. And AI creates that great hope that it has potential to reduce that long pending pain for mortgage lenders. So now this was the problem statement we had where you run AUS and then you get the condition, throw it to borrower and have a back and forth, and ultimately you end up completing all the conditions. So first, when we implemented this, we used generative AI. What we did is we took all the conditions from GSE, which was around 3000 condition, including both GSEs. We normalized them. We mapped each of the condition to how lender would expect in their loan origination system. Now, after that, what we did is we put it through LLM so that LLM communicates this in clear language to borrower, and it is depending on the comfort level of borrower. If further clarification is needed, LLM is able to provide that. And then when borrower uploads the document, AI does the validation. AI evaluates if the results coming or the document uploaded is actually meeting condition need. To give an example, let's say the condition says provide last 2 years of W-2. Now, what AI will do is will first check this document is W-2. Yes. Then it will check does it belong to the borrower against whom the condition is. Let's say it is Andy America. Does it belong to Andy America, or maybe it belongs to Julie America? Then it flags out that it's not matching. Then it also goes one step ahead and checks that the last four of social, what you have at application, is matching with last four of social in W2. Then it also checks the W2 required for year 2024 and 2025. The W2 provided, does it belong to these 2 years? So all these initial validation AI is able to do at the very beginning, and then it is able to give instant feedback to borrower. So if there is anything which is wrong, borrower gets instant feedback, and is borrower is able to resolve that then and there. So, what happened with this? 83% of the submission got instant guidance. There were 12% of the time where AI flagged issues on the borrower provided document. So, first of all, in 83% of the cases, AI was able to clearly explain what is needed. In spite of that, when there were issues, 12%, it did flag out. And out of those 12%, 88% of those issues got resolved then and there. So imagine what used to have back and forth with lender, staff, and borrower, everything reduced with just having generative AI in an existing workflow of our product. And what it led is accurate and simple check, AI verified document, which was reliable, and we ensure that the condition gets cleared. Borrower got immediate feedback rather than 2 days later, where loan officer is telling that, oh, no, this is not the right document, this is the issue. And then it also impacted the cycle time positively. It helped cycle time reduce further. But then this solution, what we implemented with generative AI, didn't come without any challenges. Um, what we saw initially, the complex condition was having issues and AI validation was not up to the mark. We had to put human in the loop, but then slowly we started training, and then it also started picking up on complex condition. Sometime the error messages given to the borrower was confusing. It was either too technical or unclear as what borrower has to do. So those were the initial challenges we slowly started getting rid of, and we did get rid of those challenges as we moved along. On loan officer side, this was great because they have less manual effort. They don't have to go through the document, look at it, and see if it is correct or not. Does this document satisfy the condition? They don't have to do that. They could have used that time, or in fact, they started using that time towards more complex cases, towards generation of new business. And for them, it was faster closing. So that made them extremely happy. The lesson here is I'm not saying AI is here to replace human. AI is here to replace loan officer or underwriter. No. AI is a powerful assistant. It is never going to be a replacement of expert human judgment. The expert underwriter will still be there. The loan officer who is expert in his or her business would still be there. So that's the bottom line. So this was the use case that I talked about, which was around generative AI getting embedded into an existing mortgage application workflow. We took it further. So that last one I gave you example of income. We put agent on top of it, and then agent started doing further analysis. When we put agent on top of it, something which used to take 7 to 10 days with back and forth multiple underwriter review now becomes 2 to 3 minutes. And let me explain this with an example. So, what used to happen, I gave in the previous context when I talked about generative AI, it was an example of income related document. Now, when I'm talking about embedding agentic AI, it doesn't mean that I have not implemented agentic AI on income side, but example that I'm taking is on the asset side. So you have digitalization in the process, but then still it is taking a lot of time in spite of having instant bank verification with various new technologies available in the market. This is a screen flow of agent sitting on top of existing application. You see on each of the screenshot, bottom right corner, you have agent available communicating to the borrower. So in the first step, borrower is giving the permission to verify the account digitally. And then once borrower verifies the account digitally, selects the account, then in third step, what agent is doing is evaluating that investor guideline, which 2000 3000 page document, which I talked about, policy as a code. So it is evaluating the the policy as code guideline against the bank statement that it has received digitally. And now in step 4, what you see is instantly, rather than some underwriter looking at that 20-page document manually and see what issues you have, it has identified a couple of issues. Number one, it is saying that we see a large deposit of 15,000. From where did you get that? Borrower says, It was a gift from my grandfather." Then automatically agent realizes that now I have to collect uh, gift letter as well if borrower doesn't have. So if borrower has provided gift letter, well and good. In this case, borrower did not provide. So now it says I have to, you gave me letter of, you gave me explanation of large deposit. Now let's give me the gift letter. It was a gift, which is fine, but I need supporting document as gift letter. So borrower should not be wondering, how do I generate gift letter? How do I get this from my grandfather? The agent sitting there gives the gift letter then and there, just asks for a few basic information like what is grandfather name, email ID, phone number, and then in step 6, it generates gift letter then and there. And borrower executes electronically and immediately it goes to borrower's grandfather to execute it. So see, what would have led to multiple steps with underwriter, like underwriter going through bank statement, identifying the large deposit, asking for letter of explanation for large deposit. Borrower provides that with loan officer help, says it was a gift. Now underwriter looks at it again and says, I need gift letter. Now borrower is wondering, how do I get the gift letter? What is the format? All those have been taken care by agent within that 2 3 minute, which ideally or in the older process was taking 7 to 10 minutes. That's the power of agentic AI, embedding that into existing workflow. Here, I'll point out another example. In step 4, that was the first one, which large deposit. Second one was there was a buy now, pay later transaction. I have spoken to many of the underwriters in the industry, and I heard this common feedback that such transaction they generally miss it. But here you have an agent which is able to figure out that transaction, and it is calling that out. We see a regular debit from your bank account, which is $100 odd. What is it for? If you look at credit report, you don't have it. So you didn't catch it, the liability. But here, the agent is so efficient that it is able to identify the liabilities which are not even there in credit report. So it matches. If there is a regular debit, it matches. Do I have the same debit information in credit report? No. Then only it is asking borrower. If it is there, then it will not ask borrower. It will match it with what you have in the report. So that's basically how efficient the agentic AI is making the application process. And it is not requiring loan officer to be on the phone helping the borrower in the process. It is even if 2 a.m. in the night in the morning, if borrower wants to fill in the application and do this stuff, well and good. Everything will be taken care by agent. So that's the power of AI. That's why I said the long pending thing in mortgage industry, which is about reducing cycle time, AI has potential to do that. On this particular slide, we will look at what makes this work at cloud native scale. Let me pull back the curtain on what makes this work at scale. This is the cloud summit after all, right? Four things. Number one, it is elastic and event driven. The validation runs as a stateless friction triggered on upload or receival of document. It scales to zero when idle and burst on when there is a demand. So you pay per you use, not per server. Number two, policy as a code. The agency guides and lender overlays are compiled into version testable rules. The agent executes deterministically. So compliance is not vibe. It's the code you can unit test. Number three is streamlining the audit. Every decision that it is getting taken by AI, it is replayable, traceable, and compliance ready, which is something which is non-negotiable in mortgage industry. And number four is isolation and guardrail. Per tenant boundaries, least privilege access, human in the loop fallback wherever confidence is low. The last point is architecture enforcing the lesson from the earlier. The agent knows when to hand it off to human. So that's how it is working. And what another thing what we have done is we give a unique identity to every agent working in the flow. It's not just one agent, multiple agent. Every write operation will have one agent with unique identity. And this helps us in explainability, audit of the application, because it's when you talk about banks and all, they are regulated by OCC. And when AI fails, it's a failure of bank. You cannot say that AI did this. You have to explain. And when we have this unique identity for each of the agent and unique write access for each of the agent, we know which agent is doing what work. And that's how we are able to validate and we're able to provide explanation whenever a particular decision is taken by AI. What goes as an input, what goes as an output, and then since it is multiple agent working in one flow, if any agent goes wrong, it's not the complete systems are down. We can just kill switch that particular agent. Rest of the process remains as is. For that agent, we can put human in the loop and then rest process remains as is. So that's the power of agentic AI. So three principle for AI native product. We saw a couple of examples. We saw how we achieved it, how we put the guardrail, how we ensure that every agent has unique read and write access to the specific area. So it helps us with traceability and explainability. Now, to conclude this, basically, I'll say three principle when you are having AI native product or embedding an AI native workflow, integrate it into your workflow. Don't look at to have as a chatbot. Make it feel like it is part of the product. It is part of the process. That's where you'll have the value add. Do not, number two is lead with insights. Do not look for content creation. No one is looking, your users are not looking to have just a lot of content. Look on content consumption. Move from content creation to content consumption. And that way, you're able to provide insights to your user and then adopt incrementally. Like in my example, I showed you first we embedded generative AI, and where we were able to excel, like income scenario, then we built agent on top of it, which was able to analyze income or asset or any other area and bring further conditions, clarifications to the user, which they can solve then and there. So adopt incrementally would be the third thing. Now, what I would say is to conclude, carve out clear niche. I gave example of icon, specific area, right? LLMs and cloud are powerful foundation, but specialization is what helps you bring real value for your users, real value for your industry. So the question here is, do you prioritize building cutting edge technology or making people's lives simpler and easier? Of course, both are important. The focus must be given to the second one to bring differentiation with the offering that you are providing. That's very much with respect to my presentation. In case you want to connect with me, that's my LinkedIn scan code. You can scan. I appreciate the opportunity again. Really appreciate the opportunity provided to me by Cloud Summit, and I'm thankful to Cloud Summit for giving me this opportunity. Thank you very much.